All right, everybody, happy Thursday. So everybody, really quick, it's going to be a little bit of a different stream tonight, and I'll tell you why. So the reason why it's going to be a little bit of a different stream, hold on, let me turn off my Wi-Fi. So I just got out of a dinner event. As you know, big day. It was a big day, my God. Talk about a crazy day, but good day. It was a good day. So I was actually at my old company. I was actually at my old company's headquarters at their executive briefing center, and we had a pretty nice meeting, pretty good meeting. We were working on some pretty big IoT deals, some pretty big enterprise accounts, especially in the healthcare space. So that went really well. I was doing that pretty much all day today, but I just got out of a dinner. I actually went to Becco with some of the attendees after, and it was a good time. It was a good time. But, so the bad news is, big day today on Wall Street, right? Big day. We had Atlassian, ticker symbol TEAM, reporting earnings today after the bell. We also had Apple, Tim Cook's company. So the bad news is, I wasn't able to be on any of the conference calls because I had to do some entertaining today, as they say in sales. If you're in sales, you probably have to take a lot of people out to dinner and do all that stuff. So that's what I was doing tonight. But I briefly read some CNBC headlines, and it looks like Apple crushed earnings expectations on both the top and the bottom line, as well as Atlassian, ticker symbol TEAM. It looks like they had a pretty good quarter too. I don't know the specifics of the report, but I did see that Apple is still having some trouble with their supply chain. So I'll tell you what we're going to do is we're going to commute home. I have to walk back to the Moynihan train station, so I will take you guys with me on my commute, and let's see who we have in the chat. We have Ibrahim Azam. Hey Ibrahim. We have Horatio Snipes. Welcome and good evening, Horatio. Chris Beeman from Arizona. Good to see you, Chris. Liquid Nate. What's up? Good to see you. NNB045 says, hey Tom. Hey NNB045. Good to see you. Sally is here, says, hey Tom. Charlie Richardson, always good to see you, Charlie. I hope you're having a good week. Almost the end of the week too, everybody, by the way. Friday is tomorrow. C-Piece has made it. The one and only Vinny Castellano from Staten Island. Vinny, good to see you. Please send Maria Castellano my best regards. Samantha R says, hey Tom and everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday to you too. Sinjib is here. Good to see everybody. So on top of it being an earnings day on Wall Street, the wind is ridiculous. So it's a little bit cold in the city, surprisingly, and it's really, really windy. But besides that, I mean, it was a beautiful day. The sun was out. I think the only downside about the day was a little bit windy, but busy day for me. I just got out of a dinner. For those of you who are just joining, I just got out of a dinner with some clients. Those clients are actually from my old company, so I was able to go back into my old office, kind of walk around. It was almost a little bit surreal because I haven't been in there since like the pandemic, so it was cool. It was nice to see everybody. We got a lot of stuff done. We covered a lot of criteria. I did about 2 presentations. I thought it went pretty well. I thought I did a decent job, if I do say so myself. And then we went to Becco, which is my favorite restaurant in all the city. So that is why we are a little bit tardy tonight. We usually stream at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is about 9 o'clock. So good to see everybody. Ibrahim says, Tom, it was windy here in California. Mohammed is here, says, good morning, bro, from Malaysia. Hey, Mohammed, good to see you. Says, we are going to celebrate Eid Mubarak soon. Well, happy Eid to you, my friend. Wishing you a very peaceful and happy one. Ruby Falcone is here. Hey, Ruby, good to see you. Happy Thursday. Liquid Nate says, I've never heard of that company team. Yeah, so Atlassian, enterprise software company, they did report after the bell today. So the bad news is I don't really have any updates for you guys. I mean, I wasn't able to listen in on any of the earnings calls, so you guys probably know a lot more than me in regard to how the earnings went. But you know, when I get back to the train, when I get on the Long Island Railroad, I will probably watch the replay of these earnings calls. I know Apple reported, supposedly they beat on both the top and the bottom line, but I think the stock's off like maybe 2 or 3% after hours because Tim Cook is forecasting actually a little bit of a net loss in relation to supply chain issues. Hey, Dutchman says, hey, good evening, Tom. Hey, Dutchman, good to see you. Dennis Henry. This is beautiful weather today in Phoenix, Arizona. You know, we do have a lot of viewers from Phoenix. So, or Arizona, I guess I should say Arizona. Chris Beeman's from Arizona. I'm not sure if Chris is from Phoenix, but so on the agenda for tonight, everybody, we are going to have to postpone our in-depth earnings stream because I wasn't able to be on any of these earnings calls because I was at work and I just literally got out of a dinner with clients. So that will be postponed to tomorrow. So I think we're just going to commute home to Penn Station, and I thought I'd take you guys along for the ride. Atomic Skittles is here. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. Happy Thursday to you. Hey, I see Grant Stetton. This is how many drinks, Tom, you're allowed. We'll let you celebrate. No drinks for me. But look, today was actually a really good day. I'm very pleased with how today went. You know, I think the biggest takeaway from today is that things are starting to get back to normal. You know, people are starting to come back to the offices. I was at the executive briefing center at my old company. It was packed, which was really good. So it was good audience to present to. I think we're having a lot of deals move forward down the pipeline. So all good stuff, guys. All good stuff. Samantha R is here. DWG. Good evening. Liquid Nate says Amazon dropped as much as 12% after hours. Wild stuff. Yeah, Liquid Nate. So I'm totally in the dark on that. So if you could fill us in on what happened on that earnings report, I'd love to know. But I'm going to get caught up on the train. Did they miss? Did they have a big miss? So Liquid Nate, obviously, you know, when we talk about Amazon, when we talk about Microsoft and Google, you know, I always hammer you guys about the cloud. You gotta, you know, watch that cloud platform. I'm very curious as to how AWS performed last quarter. So once I get on the train, the good old Long Island Railroad, I'm probably gonna have to do some digging into that. But yeah, I'm kind of in the dark. It was just a really crazy day for me. Hey, Savi is here. Good evening, Savi. Daryl is here. Says good evening from Chicago, Illinois. Good to see you, Daryl. Thank you for joining tonight's stream. Hey, the War Walker. The one and only War Walker from the 305 Miami. Good to see you, War Walker. Dutchman says, Tom, LG is building a $1.4 billion lithium battery manufacturing plant on 600 acres here in Southeast Phoenix. They will employ 2,600 people. Yeah. So that's all. So Dutchman, that's interesting that you bring that up. So Arizona is absolutely booming in relation to the semiconductor sector or industry. So the vast majority, I think, of the chip fabricators in the United States are actually located in Arizona. And Arizona has some of the most advanced water treatment and water recycling facilities in the United States due to the fact that, you know, to manufacture or fabricate semiconductors or chips, it takes a massive amount of water. And I never really knew that up until about a couple years ago when I was doing some research. I was covering a lot of these semiconductor stocks, but that is the truth. But everybody, this is Barclays Investment Bank right here. I guess you could technically say it's Times Square, not quite. Hey, Diana says Microvision, any thoughts? No thoughts, no specific thoughts, to be totally honest. But good to see you there, my friend Diana Gunn. Hey, British Gray is here from Tampa, Florida. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Savi says, good evening, Tom. And everybody's still cold in Canada. You know, it's weird. It's cold here too. Well, then again, I am coming from Miami, so. But it's chilly. I mean, it's windy. It's really windy. I mean, if you just look at the screen, everybody's pretty much in winter jackets and, you know, hats and things like that. My good friend Ruby Falcone, good to see you. Jared Covey is here. Good to see you, Jared Covey. Michelle Roos says, what is your favorite dish in Becco? So I'll tell you right now. So this is what I recommend, and I made sure the entire table got the same thing. So if you go to Becco, this is what you got to do. You got to, number one, you got to get the antipasta, right? You have the choice between a Caesar salad, but that's not a good look if you get that. You got to get the antipasta. Then, for the main course, you got to get the pasta trio, which is essentially they come around with 3 distinct pasta dishes for the table, and then you could essentially eat as much as you want of those particular pasta trio. And then at the end of the meal, you got to get a hot coffee, which is very good. So that is what I would recommend. It was a good time. Good time. Adriana SC says, greetings from Argentina. Welcome. You know, from looking at the YouTube analytics, we actually have a lot of Argentinian viewers. So thank you, everybody from Argentina, for watching. Hope you're enjoying New York. Ruby Falcone says, Caesar salad, not a good look. I mean, I guess in some circumstances it could theoretically be a good look. But if it's competing against an antipasta, probably not a good look. Elliott Wave Review, good to see you. How are you? So Elliott Wave Review, I have some disappointing news. I have some disappointing news for the chat. Obviously, this stream was supposed to be the much anticipated earnings deep dive. But the day really just got away from me. I was in meetings, I was presenting, I had to do 2 presentations, and then I had to take a bunch of people out to dinner. So I'm totally in the dark on the earnings report. I have no show notes prepared. So I think we're just going to commute back to Penn Station. But Atlassian reported, Apple reported, Amazon, and I really don't even know if they're up or down after hours. I don't know if they beat analyst expectations. But yeah, so I'm going to have to push that out another day. So tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, we will do our deep dive. Tomorrow should probably be a little less crazy, I think. Probably be a little less crazy. Hey, Lena Sandoval's here. Good to see you, Lena. Welcome. Liquid Nate's is Hood. Robinhood also reported. Big miss. Yeah, Robinhood is a horrible, horrible stock. You know, Liquid Nate, once when Robinhood IPO'd, I think I actually did a stream on the day of the IPO, and we were talking about it, and I told everybody this stock is garbage. No earnings, and I actually think there's going to be some litigation. So, allegedly, I've been talking to some people very familiar with that IPO. I won't say any more, but keep a lookout on CNBC over the next couple months. Craig is here, says Amazon is down $260 per share. Oh, man, talk about getting rocked. That's crazy, Craig. Really? I mean, how bad was the report? How bad was the report? I'm curious now. Hey, Mike R is here, says hello from Austin, Texas. Love Austin. Austin is a major, major tech town now. I mean, if you were to talk about Austin, Texas 10 years ago, completely different conversations as you have now. Austin has done a great job with bringing business and entrepreneurs to that city. They almost got me. Joel says, hey, what's up, Tom from Brazil? Me and my sister Julia are watching. Well, welcome. Good to see you. Love Brazil. Hey, Demtix is here, says, hey Tom, good to see you, hope you're well. Mike R, Craig, Mr. Ming says, you went for a group dinner, what'd you eat? So I went to Becco, one of my favorite restaurants in the city, and I just got the pasta trio. Ibrahim Azam says, Tom, have you been to Austin, Texas, or anywhere else? I have not, but I will be in Austin very soon. Very, very soon. Hey, Craig Foster says, I think Rivian hurt them. Hey, Craig. So it's good that you talk about Rivian, because I think I actually wrote about Rivian in this week's edition of the Behind the Street newsletter. So last report, Amazon's EPS on an EPS basis, I think, was actually profitable, or the majority of the profitability happened because of the Rivian IPO. But if we know, once Rivian IPO'd, it went to the moon. But as I talk about all the time on the streams, never buy a stock within its first year of IPO, because 90% of all stocks that IPO will undercut their IPO price within 1 year of becoming public. And Rivian, I think, is down like 90%. So what was technically a profit on paper, Amazon must be down big on that Rivian deal. That's a good point there. Yeah, unlimited stimulus is $7.6 billion loss from Rivian. Yeah, I mean, all of these very speculative, frothy names have been getting hammered. I've been talking about that. So Rivian, I don't think, went public via SPAC. I don't think so. But you guys can correct me on that in the chat. I think Rivian was a traditional IPO, initial public offering. But I think Lucid Motors was a SPAC, or a special purpose acquisition company. And that stock is a dog. That stock is down big. I think it's down like 90% since it IPO'd. Otto is here, says hello, Tom. Hey, Otto, good to see you. So, Otto, we're just going to be commuting home tonight. I did not have any time to look into the earnings for a lot of these stocks tonight. Liquid Nate says, Tom, it was confusing, but I think Amazon was negative EPS with Rivian loss included. Interesting. I'm going to have to check it out when I get on the train, Nate. I have to check it out. But Otto is here. Good to see you. Santo. Unlimited Stimulus is here. RJ says, hola, Tom from Colorado. Good to see you. Mark Saint. Hey, Mark. Says, greetings, Tom, and all from Nashville, Tennessee. Been a while. Hope all is well with you. Got to try Becco next time I'm in New York City. Yeah, Mark, well, thank you for joining. So Mark and Penelope, I believe, are our two guests, or our two viewers from Tennessee. Tennessee is another one of those cities, very business-friendly city. A lot of people have been moving to Tennessee. I went to Tennessee in 2016, I believe. That was actually at the time I was working for AT&T. I had a meeting at the big AT&T building in downtown Nashville. I believe it was right next to the hockey arena there. I don't know the exact name of the arena, but I believe that is where it was. So I actually spent most of my time at Vanderbilt University, which I think is safe to say is my favorite campus in the United States. I think my top two favorite campuses in the U.S., number one probably has to be Vanderbilt. Number two, I mean, it's probably neck and neck. Number one with Vandy, and number two, Cornell University. And Cornell is an Ivy League college in upstate New York in Ithaca. Unreal campus there, if anybody's familiar with that. Hey, Eyeglass Lady is here. This is dropping in. Good evening. Beautiful scenery. Good to see you, Eyeglass Lady. Hope you had a good day. We are once again starting the stream pretty late. I think we started about 9 o'clock at night. Mark Saint says, I live a few blocks from Vanderbilt University, a beautiful part of town. Yeah, I mean, that campus was amazing, especially, at the time I was going to school here in New York at John Jay. And if anybody's familiar with CUNY schools, we don't really have a traditional campus, right? I mean, we go to college in a skyscraper, so it's not like we have that experience of walking around an actual dedicated campus. So when I went to Vanderbilt on business, I was totally shocked. It was unreal. Beautiful place. Hey, Maria's here. Good to see you. Arturo Flores, good to see you. Demtix says, what was your position at AT&T? I was an account executive at the time in SMB sales. So selling into small, medium-sized businesses down near Wall Street. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed my time at AT&T. I got the job I'm very lucky to get the job, by the way. I got it when I was in college. And they actually paid for quite a bit of it through the tuition reimbursement program, which they have a very good employee tuition reimbursement program at AT&T. No longer there. That was a while ago, but it was a good experience. Good benefits. Ken Glass is here. Says, good evening, Tom. Hey, Ken. Good to see you. Hey, here we go. We got Penelope. Good evening. This is hello from Tennessee, listening to the chat. Thank you for referring to Bridgestone Arena. I'm cooking and can't hang out in the chat right now. No problem, Penelope, but thank you for being here. But yeah, I was there for about 48 hours. Hey, Lockjaw's here. Good afternoon or good evening. Dutchman says, Tom, lots of people from California are moving to Tennessee. Yeah, so that's what I've heard. Also, a lot of people from California moving to Texas, too. You know, but then again, you know, it's a funny thing. I've been seeing probably the record number of California license plates in New York City. Has any other New Yorkers noticed that? So as I've been between Miami and New York, I can't even believe the amount of California plates here in New York City. Seems like a lot of people are jumping ship from California coming to New York. Hey, Andrew Lee is here, says what's up from Queens. Good to see you, Andrew. Hope you had a good day. Yeah, Carlos Lagos says Queens College campus is beautiful as well. Great view of Manhattan from Queens College. Great view of Manhattan from Queens College. I used to practice soccer there, Queens College. Andrew Lee, Triple G is here. Larch says hello from North Carolina. NMB045 says, Tom, I've seen legit California plates here in Montreal. I couldn't believe my eyes. Really? Now that's interesting. California plates in Montreal, Canada. Hey, DM says Kingsborough CUNY is at Manhattan Beach in Brooklyn. Yeah, so Kingsborough Community College. So they have an AstroTurf soccer field, I believe, right there near the water. I think I played many soccer tournaments there at Kingsborough Community College. Yeah, I remember that very well. Also, Brooklyn College has a pretty nice sports complex too. So if you want to get to Brooklyn College, I think you got to take the 2 train to Flatbush Avenue, Brooklyn College. I think it's one of the last stops, or if not the last stop, on the 2 train. And they built that area up pretty nicely, actually. It didn't used to be that nice, but you know, they really started to build a lot of developments. I think there's a Target right when you get off the train, but I haven't been there in a while, ever since I was in college, to be honest. Hey, Patricia Ivory says, Tom, yes, I've been seeing a lot of California plates early this year. Yeah, a lot of California plates in New York. Lockjaw, good to see you. Maria, welcome. Corey says, in Texas, California plates are everywhere. You know, there's a lot of, well, I guess we can't even compare that, because I was going to say in Miami there's a lot of New York plates, but there's always New York plates in Miami. But Patricia, good to see you. Jay is here. Says it is the last stop. Oh, it is the last stop? Yeah, thought so. Mighty Bull says, watching, listening, and learning, enjoying, and thinking of like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Mighty Bull. So everybody, the Mighty Bull, I think, has his dedicated Mighty Bull Facebook page. So Mighty Bull, feel free to link it in the description or in the chat or something like that. Hey, Miss Brown Eyes, thank you so much for your $4 donation. It is much appreciated. Thank you so much for the support. Melee is here. Says, good. Hello, Tom and everybody. Good evening. Hey, Melee. Good to see you. DM says, Tom, it is the last stop on the 2 train. The Target is there. Yeah, DM, I haven't been there in a long time. I think the last time that I've been there is probably the last time I played Brooklyn College when I was at John Jay. But beautiful campus, really good campus, and I think Brooklyn College is one of the best CUNY schools in terms of academics too. Erica says, good evening, Tom. Love these walks. Good to see you, Erica. So I'm not sure if you guys could see this on the stream. This is Rockefeller Center. But right down here is actually where the ice skating rink used to be. But usually after Christmas, after the holidays, they take all that stuff down And it's usually just an open patio, but this year is actually roller skating. I think it's the first year they've done it. Erica Edwards, good to see you. Ibrahim Azam, Vinny Castellano. Ruby Falcone, hope you had a good day. Javed, good to see you. Mohammed, welcome. Yeah, Ruby Falcone's looks like good times out there. Yeah, we'll try to walk around the block and get another view from the other side. Hey, the RT440 says, I went all in on Amazon, Peloton, and Netflix last year. I have to check my portfolio to see how it is. Oh my God, dude. Well, I don't think you're doing too good on Peloton. So the RT440, it's good to see you. So today, everybody, for those of you who are joining, we were supposed to have our earnings deep dive. So we were going to go through all of the major tech earnings reports, but the day really just got away from me today, and so we're going to have to push that till tomorrow. I had a lot of meetings, and then I had to do some entertaining after work. So tomorrow shouldn't be as crazy. So I should have some time to compile my notes, and then we'll talk about it. But, I mean, from the looks of it, I'm hearing from everybody in the chat, it looks like Amazon's down pretty big after hours. It looks like the vast majority of that loss comes from their investment in Rivian. Now, if you remember correctly, we were actually talking about Amazon's Rivian investment this time last quarter. And I said, you know, even though Amazon reported a good report, here's the one thing that's sort of concerning me. The majority of their profitability on paper actually came from their investment in Rivian. Now, if we remember in 2021, the stock markets were going gangbusters, right? Stock markets were absolutely going to the moon. Liquidity was all over the place. The Federal Reserve was buying bonds. Interest rates were at zero. And it was all green lights for the stock market. But now, the IPO market is dead. I mean, there's no new IPOs at all. You know, it seemed like in 2020, in 2021, there was a new IPO almost every single day. Now, that market is totally dry. So usually what happens is, in a good year, when a lot of companies are going public, that usually means a lot of those companies, their fundamentals are really junk. Because in a bull market, any company could go public and raise capital. But in a bear market, you know, credit is done. I mean, good luck raising money in a bear market when everybody's losing money. So I think as of right now, it's very important to really pay attention to the companies that are going public right now. Because if a company is able to go public and raise money through equity capital markets right now, that probably means their fundamentals are stellar and it's a really good business. But as we saw last year, we had all of these initial public offerings as well as SPACs, or special purpose acquisition companies, which we actually wrote about in the Behind the Street newsletter. A lot of those businesses have no earnings and very little sales. So when the market turns, those are the first stocks to get hammered. So just be on the lookout for that. Melee's, Tom, Amazon lost a lot of online shopping now that it is slowing down since we are opening back up. That's true. That's actually a really good point, Melee. Chris West says, I thought Reddit was supposed to IPO this year. I thought they were too. They had plans to. But now I think a lot of those plans are foiled. A lot of companies that were supposed to go public are no longer going public. But if you guys want to know a little bit more about what we're talking about, if you scan this QR code, you could sign up for the free financial newsletter. So I write a free financial newsletter for everybody in the chat. We cover not only U.S. equities markets, but we cover emerging markets, cryptocurrencies, as well as the fixed income or debt market every single week. So if you want to stay up to date and connect with all of us in the chat, please scan the QR code and punch in your email. It is completely free, and for all of you who have already signed up, please check your spam folder because I just sent it out to everybody on Tuesday after the market closed. So please join us over there. Corey says beautiful flowers. Yeah, it's a beautiful location here at Rockefeller Center. Let me give you a view. I wish there was a way to allow you guys to smell how it smells here, because the flowers smell unreal. Really beautiful here. Hey, Mr. Mings is gonna go cook dinner. Awesome. Love that. Demtix says, Tom, what does it mean, IPO? So IPO is an acronym for Initial Public Offering. So it stands for Initial Public Offering. So essentially, you know, the traditional way a company could go public is through an IPO. But as we've seen, especially last year, a lot of companies were going public via a SPAC, or a special purpose acquisition company. And if you want to know a little bit more about those, feel free to check out the newsletter that I wrote for everybody this week. Hey, Sean is here, says hello everybody. Looks like another beautiful night in New York. It really is. It is a beautiful. Aussie says, what was your dad's occupation? A power plant engineer. So John D. Rockefeller right here. Spontaneous Crusade says, Tom, are those Easter baskets? I don't think so. I'm not really sure what these are. I think they may be chairs. I think you could actually sit down in them. I think this is mainly for little kids though. But this is right here at Rockefeller Center, 30 Rock. They made it look really beautiful for obviously probably spring and Easter. Hey, Tom M says Qualcomm forecasts upbeat revenue as diversification bet pays off, up 10% today. Hey, that's awesome, Tom M. So thank you for that, because I didn't have a chance to look into any of the earnings reports today. I was so busy at work. So thank you for that. So to Tom M's point, you know, a lot of the semiconductor companies, a lot of the semiconductor stocks are reporting earnings. And one of the biggest concerns of major analysts on Wall Street is that, you know, thinking about last year, all of these semiconductor stocks were rocking, going to the moon. Earnings were growing, revenues were growing. So the biggest concern now is, you know, does this continue? And one of the biggest reasons why a lot of analysts think it can't continue is because of inventories may be piling up. So as we know, there've been a massive global semiconductor shortage, which has the potential to force companies to stockpile semiconductors. So there could be a point where we reach critical mass where a lot of these semiconductor companies, or a lot of companies that use semiconductors, has actually stockpiled them, and inventories are building up and even exceeding some of the demand now. Hey, Daniel G is here from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Good to see you. Says, hey Tom, good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good to see you, Daniel. Hope you're doing well. I see Frank Gonzalez. Says, Tom, good evening. Saw a few YouTube clips on shopping malls getting extinguished in the long run due to multiple growing online options. What is your take? I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I think, I think it's called, I think there's actually a terminology for it now. I think it's called the culling of traditional brick and mortar retail. So I think if a company doesn't have a specific strategy or go-to-market strategy online, I think it's game over. So I agree. Ruby says, is that blocked off? I think it is blocked off. I think you can only go here if you are doing the skating. Hey, Triple D says Teladoc got rocked today, big time, down 40%. Yeah, so I posted about that on Twitter a little bit. So if you guys want to connect with us throughout the day on Twitter, if you follow @WalksWallStreet, a lot of the times we'll post real-time market updates and things like that. But yeah, Teladoc, absolutely egregious earnings report. Analysts on Wall Street were expecting 55 cents of positive EPS. Teladoc reported negative $46 of earnings. So, I mean, talk about a report that couldn't have gone worse for Teladoc. They managed to pull it off. Hey, Mohammed says, hey, Tom. I think the face mask is optional. Yeah, WW says, poor Kathy Wood, I know. That's why risk management is key, everybody. Penelope is here, good to see you. All right, everybody, so let's head out here. This is Rockefeller Center, 30 Rock. So this area is closed off, I think, after 8 p.m. Only if you're gonna do the skating is when you can come here. Nick Rocks, good to see you. So here's a view how it looks on this side. But Apple reported earnings as well today, but we will do a deep dive tomorrow. But I think I read a little bit of a clip on CNBC that Tim Cook is saying that they are expected to, it was either like an $8 billion headwind or something like that. They're expecting because of supply chain and logistics issues. So it's crazy to see that a lot of these supply chain issues are still going on. And then enterprise software company out of Australia, Atlassian, ticker symbol TEAM, reported earnings. I think that one is also down. NMB 045 says, Tom, who makes money off of the SPACs that go to zero? A lot of the bankers and hedge funds do too. So Bill Ackman is one hedge fund manager that made a lot of money off of special purpose acquisition companies last year. Chamath Palihapitiya is another one who made a lot of money. Richard Branson. Because essentially, and I'm not saying all SPACs are bad, right? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is a lot of these special purpose acquisition companies were extremely hyped up. People on CNBC and Bloomberg were really pumping these SPACs to the public, especially Chamath. But if you actually looked at sort of their trading activity, once they merge these companies with the SPACs, because essentially what a special purpose acquisition company is they create a shell company, right? So they raise the money first. It's almost like an inverse IPO. So with a SPAC, you have a shell company, and then you look for an acquisition target. So it's very speculative. So you raise the money first, you launch it on the public markets, and then you look for an acquisition company to take over. So for example, Rivian, another one, I think Richard Branson also did an IPO with his rocket company that doesn't make any money. He did that one with Chamath as well. And if you look at the relative performance of these, Lucid was another one, Lucid Motors was another SPAC. If you look at the relative performance of these are all down 90%. And I wrote about this in the Behind the Street newsletter. So if you want to read a little bit more about what a special purpose acquisition company is, why there was a lot of froth and speculative activity on Wall Street last year, just check out that newsletter I sent to everybody. If you type !NEWS in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link and you guys can read it for free. But let's cross the street and see if we can look at these skaters over there. I think they may have closed it off, but I think we'll be able to get a view from this side. Let's check it out. Hey, Roy S. says, hey, Tom and all mods. Good to see you, Roy. Hope you're well. Hey, Brad's Brain says, your bear quote in the newsletter reminds me of one of my favorite from Bernard Baruch. I made all my money in the stock market selling too soon. That's a great quote, Brad's Brain. So Bernard Baruch, fantastic guy. We actually have a college here in New York City named after him, which is called Baruch. And I think one of our moderators, Cosmos Scary, went to Baruch as well. I feel like there's not usually a lot of traffic down this street. I feel like they tend to close off the street to traffic. At least they do that during the holidays. All right, let me know if you guys could see any of the roller skaters. Hey, Pineapple Water says, hi, Tom. Don't forget China is basically in total lockdown for our products/logistics. We must give tax incentives for made in the USA. That's a fantastic point, Pineapple Water. I mean, talk about a total blunder. I mean, China has done a horrible job at managing COVID. And I remember when COVID was just first, starting out, there was a lot of analysts in the United States that were saying, hey, the United States should take the same path as China and do total lockdowns. But now we've found that lockdowns don't work. Lockdowns do more harm than good. And that's why here in the United States, we're rocking, we're open for business. We're roller skating here in Rockefeller Center. While in China, they're locked down, and it's horrible. I also think that probably our vaccine technology is way better than the ones in China. Because if you look at the numbers in China are off the rails. But here, they're not that bad. I mean, the city's back open. Everybody in the United States who has had the option or the availability to get a vaccine or get vaccinated has had that option. And we're open for business. We're open for business. Vinny Castellano, good to see you. Al J is here. Welcome. Ernesto says, yo, what's up from the heart of Los Angeles? I got to visit Los Angeles. Haven't been. I hear it's a beautiful place. Haven't been out to Cali. So now that everything's open and back up, I really want to, I think the first stop when I actually really start to travel for pleasure and not business is probably going to be Toronto or Montreal. Haven't been to Canada in a while, so I think it'll be nice to get back. Sparks Carnival says, thoughts on Teladoc beat down 40% today. I bought the dip. Telehealth is here to stay after COVID. Yeah, so my thoughts on that, and if you follow me on Twitter at Walks Wall Street, I posted a thread on Teladoc today. You never buy a company with no earnings. That's why, a lot of the times that I write about in the newsletter that I send that every week, I don't buy stocks with earnings. I can't. It's not to say that you can't make money in them, but when the market turns, the stocks that get hammered the most are companies with no earnings. And Teladoc has yet to have a profitable quarter. So it's too frothy, it's too speculative. Analysts on Wall Street were expecting a 55% EPS gain this quarter for Teladoc. They came out and reported a negative $46 EPS print. When I first saw it come across the Bloomberg terminal, I was like, what? Is this fake? I thought it was a misprint. But no, that's right. I mean, the Teladoc missed earnings so egregiously that I think I could have done a better job running the company myself. I mean, you have analysts on Wall Street predicting 55 cents of positive EPS, and then the company turns around and throws out an insulting number. I was insulted when I saw the number. Negative $46 of EPS. And now I think Teladoc is trading at a lower valuation than what Livongo was when they bought Livongo Health. So even though telehealth is here to stay, which I agree, if it's a bad business and it's not making any money, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to throw good money after bad. If the company was selling off but they were blowing out their numbers, then yeah, maybe we'll talk about it. But I mean, if you are going to put out a piss poor earnings report quarter after quarter, and I actually think there's some news that they actually lied to investors. So we have to figure that out. There's now news coming out that Robinhood lied to investors as well. And to top that all off, there's news coming out that Twitter lied to investors about user growth. So a lot of crazy stuff is taking place here in the market. And if that's true, if it is true that Twitter lied to investors about user growth, I think Elon Musk actually has a leg to stand on here to sue the board of directors of Twitter, right? Because as you are making an offer to buy a company, which, Elon Musk bought Twitter for, $44 billion, you come up with the valuation metrics to buy that company based on publicly available information. And there's rumors, so it's alleged, right? There's alleged rumors out there that Twitter actually put out fraudulent growth information and exacerbated their user growth. So, interesting times. Really, really interesting times coming down the pike. Jared Covey says, Tom, watch out for medical fraud in telehealth. Hey, Chris West says, yes, Tom, Elon has a case. So I'm not sure if those rumors are true. But supposedly, there was some fraudulent numbers on the earnings report, quote unquote, cooking the books. Hey, John is here. Hey, John, good to see us. It is the Today Show. Yeah, the Today Show is shot right over here. Hey, Line Sync is here. Says, but when things were really bad in New York City, I just lost your comment. Cooking says, I was actually planning on moving to China last year, but chickened out. Glad I didn't. Yeah, I mean, Cooking, I think he dodged a bullet there. Hey, EBITDA, good to see you. EBITDA says, hey, Tom, quite crazy earnings from Teladoc and Apple. Hope all is well. Yeah, so EBITDA, to your point, I think you're right. The unfortunate thing is I was busy today. I actually had to go to the executive briefing center at my old company, had to do a couple presentations, and then I had to take some clients out to dinner. So I pretty much missed all of the earnings calls today. I wanted to be on Apple's, I wanted to be on Atlassian's, but I couldn't. So we're actually going to do our earnings stream tomorrow. But yeah, so what I heard from Teladoc, I think they reported yesterday, is they missed earnings by about $46. They posted negative $46 of EPS. I thought that was a typo, but apparently not. But does anybody have any insight on Apple's earnings report? I have no idea. EBITDA says, how did Atlassian do? So I actually have no idea. I was totally preoccupied today with taking clients out to eat. I was doing 2 presentations, but I got a notification on my Charles Schwab app that Atlassian beat earnings on both the top and the bottom line, but I think the stock is down about 5% after hours. So I'm not sure how they did. Amazon, I don't even know what they're trading at, but Liquid Nate in the 12% after hours. Supposedly they reported a worse than expected loss due to Rivian, their investment in Rivian. But I'll have to check it out on the Long Island Railroad. I'm going to have to check it out. EBITDA says me too, 46 compared to estimated 60 cents per share. I know, EBITDA. I thought, like, when it came across the Bloomberg terminal, I was like, wait, I sent a screenshot to my friend, and I said, wait, is this a typo? And apparently not. I mean, so here's the funny thing about that, right? So talking about Teladoc's valuation is now lower than the valuation of Livongo Health when they bought them. I mean, tell me that isn't like a fluke, right? So Teladoc acquired Livongo. I think back in the day the ticker symbol was LVGO. I'm not sure if any of you guys remember Livongo Health. There was some M&A activity in the space. I thought it was actually a pretty decent acquisition, but now they're actually trading at a lower valuation than what they acquired Livongo Health for. So talk about a spectacle. Really, really bizarre. Hey, Con, says Tom, the NFL draft is going on in Vegas. Is it really? Wow. I did not know that. Thank you for telling me. Triple G says, Tom, surprisingly, Atlassian gave back most of its gains after hours, plus $16.32, up 6%, after hours down 6%. So that probably means they beat on both the top and the bottom line, but during the earnings call, they probably guided lower. So a lot of the times when you have a company blow out their earnings report, the stock will pop after hours. But the most important thing, in my opinion, in an earnings report is not the actual results, right? Because the market is a forward-looking indicator. The stock market doesn't care about what a company did last quarter. It cares about the future prospective growth of that company. So Atlassian, and I don't know if this is the case, I wasn't on the call, but what I'm assuming that happened is Atlassian blew out the number but guided lower. But then again, I'm not too sure if that's the case. EBITDA says, Tom, Teladoc went from above $300 a share to below 30 in 13 months. Whew. Yeah, I mean, talk about a rout. That's wild. Brad's Brains says, price action and volume have to be backed up by EPS and RS, in my opinion. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I agree with that, Brad. Line Sync says, Tom, I hope your clients appreciated the whining and dining. I think they did. I think they appreciated it. Looks like it's garbage night here in New York. Chris West says, Kathy Woods bought over 200,000 shares of Teladoc today. Wow. Hey, DM says, Tom, the Empire State Building had the orange lights for the Today Show's 70th anniversary. Wow. Hey, Carl says, thanks for all your advice. Good to learn new things from you. Thank you as well. Good to learn new things from you too. So we're going to make a left here, and then we are going to walk down to Moynihan train station. So 70 years of the Today Show. Wow. You know, I don't even know who's on the Today Show now. I mean, after that whole Matt Lauer fallout, I just don't really have the time to watch that kind of stuff. I mean, it's on at like 9 o'clock in the morning, isn't it? Chris West is correction over 500,000. I mean, my God. I mean, I love Kathy Wood. I think she's a fantastic person. I actually met her. I was able to talk to her for a couple minutes at the Bitcoin 2022 conference. Very nice lady. But, I mean, I don't know. So, there's an old saying on Wall Street. You know, if a stock goes from $50 to $10, and the analyst says to the portfolio manager, "Oh, the stock is on sale. It's $10. How low can it go?" It can't go any lower than 10, right? Can't go any lower. And the portfolio manager says it could go to 0, right? I mean, if you buy a stock even at $1, you could lose and you say, how much could I lose? You could lose everything. You could lose 100% of your money, right? If you buy a stock at $1, it goes to 25 cents, you lost 75% of your money. So just because a stock is lower than it was before doesn't mean it's a good investment. It actually probably means it's a worse off investment. So that is why I don't quote unquote bottom fish. It is never advantageous to bottom fish. So usually during corrections, you want to look for stocks that are showing relative strength. And relative strength means the performance of one stock is better on a relative basis than the other. So right now, the stocks are getting creamed. So what you want to look for are stocks trading near record highs, because those are the quality names that large institutional investors are not choosing to sell. So for example, and I think I gave you guys a couple of these names in the newsletter, but Fortinet I think is trading near record highs. A couple other names, I think Palo Alto Networks is also trading near record highs. But it's not warranted to be buying individual stocks here, in my view. Hey, Adam says, Tom, greetings from LA. Do you think Spotify and other subscription services will face the same fate as Netflix? I think that's an interesting proposition there. I mean, I never really liked Spotify as a business model, because doesn't Spotify have to give a lot of the revenue to the, the record labels? I mean, Spotify is not a stock that I cover, but I think that's the case. I think a lot of the revenue that Spotify generates, they actually have to give a cut to the record labels. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think. Vinny Castellano says, how do you feel about Amazon and eBay stock? Maria's asking your advice. So I won't give out stock advice, but I really need to see how Amazon reported. So if anybody in the chat, I mean, Amazon reported after the bell today. I'm very curious on how their cloud computing unit went. So did their cloud computing unit do well? But hold on, everybody. We have to take a quick break. I got to tie my shoe. So enjoy the views of Times Square as I tie my shoe here so we don't crack my face on the sidewalk. See Cosmo's scary. What's up, Cosmo? Penelope says, Tom, copyright has to be complex. I know. Ruby Falcone says, Tom, any water break tonight? So I don't have any water, but the thing is, I was chugging water almost all day today, Ruby, because I had to do about 2 presentations, and they were about 45 minutes each. And I usually go through like 2 bottles well hydrated. But no water unfortunately. But here's my old ex-girl with the city way. Girl, I think of the team or Orlando FC boss Marcelo. All right, what about now? I think we should be good now. Let me know if we are back. It's better? Yeah, for some reason if we walk this way, it's gonna buffer a lot. So I think we'll go around the block. Hey, NG's is much better. All right, awesome. Hey, Trevor is here. Good to see you, Trevor. Says figuring out this equity compensation package in a private company I'm trying to receive is a headache, tax and legal wise. Which company, if you want to disclose? You don't have to disclose that. David says, Tom, I'm watching you on EarthCam. No way. So let me know, where is the EarthCam located? I think it's somewhere over here. But yeah, if you could find us on EarthCam, that'd be pretty cool. Future Endeavor, good to see you. Yogi says you would think the internet would work fine in Times Square. I know. That is true. But there seems to be a lot of people out tonight. But if you look straight ahead, this is where they dropped the ball in Times Square. Marjan Worldwide is here. Says, what's up, Wall Street Skate Bro? Hello, everybody in the chat. What is up, man? Good to see you. Hey, Jim says, I highly recommend Ray Dalio's new book, Principles for Dealing with the Changing New World Order. Why Nations Succeeded and Failed. So, Jim, you are 1,000% right. That book is fantastic. So I'm not sure, Jim, if you're getting the Behind the Street newsletter, but I actually sent out everybody the video. So Ray Dalio, to your point, Jim, put out a fantastic video outlining his thesis of the changing New World Order. But that book is phenomenal. It talks about the reasons why nation states rise and fall. And one of the major things that Ray Dalio talked about in that book, as well as in the video, is nations start to fall when they start to get wrapped up in endless wars and start to print a ton of money to fund those conflicts, right? So the United States, we got tied up in Afghanistan and Iraq, spent $2 trillion, and now our central bank, the Federal Reserve, is printing so much money, and it's created what's called a wealth disparity in the United States, where we have a two-tier society, the extreme haves and extreme have-nots. And that causes internal conflict and infighting in the United States. So you're 100% right on that. But if you guys want to watch the video on that, there's a really good video Ray Dalio put out. And if you scan this QR code, on the screen, punch in your email and scroll down to Behind the Street newsletter number 16, I believe. And you could watch that interview with Ray Dalio where he outlines the rise and fall of nation states. And then I'll also send you a free financial newsletter once a week. So scan the QR code, punch in your email address, and we will send that to you every single week free of charge, where you can stay connected on the U.S. equities markets, emerging markets, as well as the bond market and the cryptocurrency market. But I do agree with you, that is a phenomenal book. Love that book. Brandon C is here. Good to see you, my friend. Penelope says it's a classic. Cosmo says, I see Tom on EarthCam. I'm curious now as to where the Earth camera is. The Cosmo, it has been generating a lot. So Cosmo, I think we are at over 900 people that are reading the newsletter, so I really do appreciate it, everybody. I mean, it's amazing. So thank you guys for the support. Thank you for reading, and I hope you're enjoying it too. Emilio J says, yeah, the Biden is about to ask Congress for another $30 billion to help out with Ukraine. Yeah, you're right. So another thing that's interesting is, so the Biden administration is supposedly supposed to come to a conclusion on student loan forgiveness. So as of now, I think there's hundreds of thousands of people in the United States that are no longer. The reason for that on those loans. If the Biden administration will cancel all of those student loans. So I think it's a good possibility they may cancel it, but I think if the Biden administration cancels all student loans, I think what they need to do is stop the government subsidy of those student loans in the first place. Because the reason why we're in this big mess in the first place is because the government has been subsidizing all of these student loans. Right? So if I'm a college, right, let's say if I'm a private college like the University of Miami, there's no reason for me to be price competitive because I know every single person who applies to my college is going to get money to go. Because they could just go to the government and the government is going to approve whatever amount it is. So I think if we stop all of the egregious government subsidy, I think it's going to force colleges to be much more price competitive, in my opinion. Santos says, Tom, it is crowded in Times Square. Indeed, it is crowded tonight. Hey, Who Dat Dave is here. Says that is the Democratic political Hail Mary in the midterm election. You know, Dave, you could be right. You could be right on that. But supposedly, I think we did hear from the Biden administration where they're supposed to make. Now, if we forget, because it should. Stop the subsidy of the student loan. The problem. Yeah, I think the internet may not be good here. So let's cross the street. Alright, so let's head towards the NASDAQ. Jeff W. 2022. This is Tom. I am proud Dem from the critical state of Michigan. Dems will be wiped out in November for one reason. The party in the White House has lost big every midterm election in the last 30 years. Damn. That's a crazy statistic. Emilio J. It's like Pelosi is throttling your stream. Funny. So I think when Times Square is crowded, the network tends to be very congested. But if you guys are enjoying the stream tonight, you can feel free to like the video and subscribe if you are new. If you are enjoying the stream. Hey, lifestyles, inflation, open borders, and high gas prices, etc. Yeah, so if we look at the data, in terms of the equities market in relation to the stock market, in a midterm election cycle, about 90% of the time, which is a pretty big percentage of the time, the U.S. equities market, the S&P 500, is actually negative to flat in Q1 or Q2. But in Q3 and Q4, that is actually when stocks start to pick up again. Lay Detective says, Tom, are you from Manhattan? I am not from Manhattan. I'm from Long Island, New York. The ABX girl says, other countries you do not pay for college, and it is extremely low cost, says the ABX girl. NMB045 says, Tom, thanks for going through Times Square tonight. It was a treat for us since you rarely come here. Yeah, I mean, I think, we've actually been coming here, I think 2 nights in a row now, isn't it? It's kind of crazy. But NMB045, no problem. Gregory says that guy is really happy. So I think Jollibee is a very, very famous place. I've never been here, but has anybody been to Jollibee? Supposedly it's very famous here. Very famous tourist attraction. Hey, Dean says, Tom, the stream is clean and crisp. Well, thank you, Dean. Much appreciated. Oliver Johns is my man. Good to see you, Oliver John. Future Endeavors says, has anyone tried to give you their CD or free music or a free hug? Some people try to do that, but I don't really listen to music. And I mean, I don't know. So the whole CD scam, I think they need to start adapting with the times, because I've never used a CD in my life. I mean, I think we could safely say the majority of the chat. I mean, does anybody use CDs anymore? I mean, I don't even think you could walk into a Best Buy and buy a CD player. So I mean, if you're trying to give me your CD, I mean, there's no medium for me to even listen to the music. Now, I know the CDs are blank, and they just try to do that to scam people and things like that. But I don't think it's clever anymore, right? I don't think it's that clever, because nobody uses a CD. That's like me walking around with like a cassette tape, and it's like saying, hey, here's my cassette tape. I mean, nobody listens to cassette tapes. So, Sean says Jollibee is very popular restaurant among Filipinos. Yeah, so Fernando, Super Friends in the City, told me about this place. I actually think I was watching one of his streams when he went there. Now, I'm not sure where the original location is in New York, but I think there is already a location here, I think. Wow, so we do have a lot of people that use CDs. Huh, I stand corrected. Eyeglass Lady says, I put the CDs in my laptop. Wow, you must have a really old laptop. Oliver John says, Tom, how was Wall Street today? Wall Street got taken through the ringer, the meat grinder today. D says, yes, I'm old-fashioned. Hey, D, good to see you. Iris, good to see you. Says, in the car, I listen to CDs. Okay, that's fair. RS says, hello, Tom, from Ridgewood, Queens. Love Ridgewood. Hope you're well. Iowa Oak says 8th between 39th and 40th is the current Jollibee. Ah, nice. So 8th between 39th and 40th. So that is down here. You know what? Then I actually have walked past it now that I'm sort of visualizing it in my head. Hey, Bruce Wayne says they make money by intimidating people. CDs are for the police if they complain, as in I sell CDs. Hey, Lay Detectives, I'm glad I found this channel. I subscribed. Well, thank you for subscribing. So for those of you who are new, we do go live about 5 days per week, walking around New York City and Miami, usually talking about finance, the financial markets, or just really anything. Talk about good food places and just sort of hang out. But this is one of my favorite places in Times Square, which is saying a lot. This is the NASDAQ. And, you know, a while ago, Investors Business Daily actually used to do their market close stream right in here. So IBD. But ever since they were acquired by the one and only News Corporation, they have since moved their studios back to, I believe, LA. I think IBD moved their studios back to LA. You know, they may start to share a studio with News Corporation very soon. Vinny Castellano says, I miss the records. Like the old vinyls. Melissa says, I miss the old Toys R Us in Times Square. Yeah, I remember going there as a kid. They used to have that Ferris wheel there, didn't they? Hey, RS is the Jollibee in Woodside. Woodside, Queens. Woodside's a nice town. So, you know, I want to check out the Empire State Building tonight. So I think we're going to walk over to 6th Avenue. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Khan says, Tom, and also FAO Schwartz. Yeah, FAO Schwartz used to be where the Apple Store was. So the Apple Store is 5th Avenue and 59th Street. The FAO Schwartz used to be right there. But now, I'm trying to think of where it is. Oh, it's in Rockefeller Center. So the FAO Schwartz is in Rockefeller Center. Melissa 2087, good to see you. Long Island Duck is here. Good to see you, Long Island Duck. Penelope's like, Tom, you opened a can of worms with media. Lifestyle says, I still need people with masks. I still see people with masks on in the streets. Yeah, some people wear the masks here, some don't. Long Island Duck, good to see you. Cindy Foley, good to see you. Welcome. Hope you're well, Cindy. So Apple reported earnings today. Cindy, Atlassian, ticker symbol TEAM, reported earnings. But we will be moving the earnings stream, or the earnings deep dive stream, to tomorrow, because today was a very busy day at work. I was giving presentations all day, and then I had to take clients out to dinner. But the good news is we went to Becco, and Becco is my favorite Italian restaurant in New York. Hey, Dow Jones. Good to see you, Dow Jones. DowJones.eth. So Dow Jones is our fellow FinTwit, or crypto Twitter friend. Good to see you, my man. Raul says, hey Tom, how is everything? Everything's really good. Thank you for asking. Much appreciated. We are here outside of the Bank of America Tower. And then in a minute, you guys are going to see a gorgeous view of the Empire State Building. Hey, Who Dat Dave says, my oldest daughter lives in Brooklyn and loves it. My youngest daughter went to King's College for one semester and said, I'm out of here. Wow. Yeah, so King's College, I think I actually used to work near King's College. If I'm not mistaken, I think King's College is right near Wall Street. So my old office was right next to Deutsche Bank. And I think King's College was right next to the New York Stock Exchange, I think, on Broadway. Dow Jones says, yes, get your Ethereum's names, peace, dude. Yeah, I mean, they're almost gone, so please get the .eth names. You got to start collecting them. NMAT says, I miss the old Times Square. We're the only people. Melissa, good to see you, says Brian Park. I love it. Hope you're well. So we are standing right outside of the Salesforce Tower here. Who Dat Dave's is correct, the building near Wall Street. Yeah, King's College, I'm not too familiar with it, but I think it is a good school. In a great location, by the way. So down there is King's College. You also have the New York Film Academy. So if you continue going down Broadway, you'll actually run into the Mighty Bull, or the Wall Street Bull. But right next to the Bull is the New York City Film Academy. Hey, Miss Bash is here. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Iowa Oaks has lots of Dwayne Reeds around New York City. Closed down due to looting. Indeed they did. So I think more so in San Francisco as opposed to New York. So I think there's more looting and things like that going on in San Francisco. VSSNAV says, have the subways been getting better? So I don't know. I don't take the subway. I don't even remember the last time I was on a subway. Especially now that the weather's getting nice, there's really no need for me to take the subway, because whenever we stream, we just bang out 12 to 13 miles and we're walking it. And usually we end right at Penn Station when I have to get the subway anyway. When I have to get the train, the Long Island Railroad. So I haven't really been on the subway, to be honest. So I can't really give you, I guess you could say, a frontline point of view. But Cosmo, I think Cosmo takes the train every day. Khan says, Tom, there are mostly peaceful protesters in the subway. So everybody, here is the One Vanderbilt building. One of my favorite buildings in the city. Hey, Lifestyle says, does anybody know if Coupa is a buy? So ticker symbol COUPA is, what's it called? Coupa Software. They are a spend management platform. Hey. I think they have negative earnings. I'm not even sure when the last time they reported, though. Dow Jones says, I walked everywhere last week. I loved it. But I think the ticker symbol is COUP for Coupa Software. But I think that stock is back to where it was in 2020. Okay, so everybody, we are walking past Bryant Park, one of my favorite parks. Unfortunately, it is closed right now, so we are not going to be able to take a walk through it. But I do want to show you guys real quick. Speaking of somebody giving me things, that guy was standing next to me trying to hand me a piece of paper. I said, no thanks. Who Dat Dave says, pool was up over 3% today, at least 25% off the all-time high. Who Dat Dave, I think I need to get back to you on my opinion of ticker symbol POOL. Miss Brown Eyes, thank you so much for the $1.49 donation. You are way too kind, and I appreciate you very, very much. Mike C says, Tom, I wanted to let you know I'm joining you and moving to Florida soon. No way, dude. So what part of Florida you gonna go? Are you gonna be near me and AK in the good old Miami, or where are you going? What are you gonna do? Ibrahim Azam, good to see you. So we're going to walk past the New York Public Library. This is the Stephen Schwarzman building. And we actually just recently heard from Stephen Schwarzman himself when Blackstone reported earnings. Now, one of the bright spots in that earnings call via Blackstone was their real estate portfolio. So a lot of institutional investors have actually been scooping up not only large multifamily deals, but also they've been scooping up single-family homes in hopes to rent them out to people like you and me. And that business has been very, very lucrative. The properties have been cash flowing very, very nicely. And that is what we heard when Blackstone reported earnings last week. Melissa is here. Good to see you. Roy S. says 600 watching. Nice crowd tonight, Tom. Hit the like button. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, so if you're enjoying the streams, if you're enjoying the tulips here in Bryant Park and this beautiful view of the Empire State Building, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Giselle BR says, how do you think I could find a job like that? The way you like finances. Thank you, man. So I actually don't work in finance. I actually work in enterprise tech or enterprise software sales. So I'm selling technology, not only software, but hardware into the Fortune 500 and Fortune 50. But if you want to get a job on Wall Street, I think New York City is definitely the place to do it. But you can really do anything you want here. The job opportunities are endless in New York. So if you want to work at a tech company, if you want to work at a software company, if you want to go the route of private equity and venture capital, I think if you start off at the investment bank, you're going to have a lot of good exit opportunities to work in private equity or something like that. So I think you could do it. You got to come to New York or really anywhere in America for sure. Hey, Khan, thank you so much for the $20 donation. You are way too kind. This is God Bless America, land of the free, home of the brave. That is the comment of the night. Love that, Khan. Agreed 100,000%.
Joe, was it like somewhere like right?
To Khan's point, I mean, the opportunities in the United States, not only New York, but it's endless, endless, endless. So thank you, Khan. You are way too kind. And let's keep chugging along. So this building right here is the Chrysler Building. One of the fan favorites on the stream for sure. Hey, VSSNAV, this is Tom. I work in IB now. Do you think it is going to be a bad year fee-wise? Well, I think we've already heard that from a lot of the investment banks that already reported. So we heard from Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan. Well, we really heard from everybody. And fee-wise, yeah, I think it's going to be down drastically in comparison to 2020 to 2021. So I would ask you this question. Think about your workload in 2021 as an investment banker. You were probably swamped, right? Especially if you were working like M&A or something like that. The deal flow last year was insanity. I've been talking to a lot of my friends who are, investment banking associates now. And in 2020 and 2021, not only the M&A activity was crazy, but the IPO markets were going gangbusters. And if you compare that to right now, there's no companies going public. We're in a bear market. So in bear markets, very seldom do a lot of companies go public. I mean, if you run the data, if you run the analysis, compare the number of companies going public this year so far in 2022 to 2021, it's probably down like 75%. I mean, the IPO market is in a total gridlock. So for fee income or equity underwriting, yeah, I think a lot of that fee income is gonna dry up for sure. But the good news for banks is that interest rates are going up. So they're probably going to make a little bit more money on the loans that they make. So here's a nice view of the Chrysler Building. VSS NAV says, Tom, it's much more pitching now. I think there's probably still deals to be had, but it's definitely going to be a lot harder to raise money or to pitch clients to invest in a company now, right? But I'd love to know your thoughts. Like, what do you think? What are you seeing at the investment bank that you work at? I mean, are you seeing like your workload is tapered off a little bit? Are you still pulling a lot of those crazy hours? Or sort of what are you seeing there? So for people in the chat, does anybody know the names of these two lions? A little bit of New York trivia. Hey, Beijing Charlie is here. Says, damn, Midtown is not as lively as I remember it. I actually think there's actually more people out tonight than there was yesterday. Mike sees his patience and fortitude. You were right. NMAT says, I forgot the name. Cool Weather Farmer, good to see you. Fantastic Frankie. This is Simba and Scar, no. Although we can put in a ticket to rename them. DM, you're right, patience and fortitude. I really love this library. I think it looks so beautiful inside. Too bad we can't go inside here and stream. I think you guys would really appreciate the architecture from inside the library. Hey, BJ Axe is from Ghostbusters, indeed. Triple G says Barnes & Noble. John Oliver says, Tom, I haven't been inside that library since high school. Hey, Ron 2000 says, hello from Williamsburg, Virginia. Good to see you. Hope you're well. So I love what they did with all these tulips here outside the New York Public Library. Hey, Marcella Gill says, hi, Tom. How you doing? Getting your live now. Better late than never. Your New York City tours are very productive. Hey, thank you so much. Have a nice night. Marcelo from São Paulo, Brazil. We have a lot of Brazilian viewers, and I appreciate every single person that's been watching from Brazil. Much appreciated. Oh my is here. This is Tom, the library. It was from the first Sex and the City movie when Carrie got stood up. I've never watched one episode of that. Is it a movie or is it a television series? For some reason I thought it was a television series, but I could stand corrected. Maybe it is a movie. Hey, parking full time says the tulips are beautiful right now. Agreed. So if anybody is a finance junkie like myself and you're ever in New York City, if you come to 5th Avenue right here to this brand new beautiful building, if you go to the 5th floor, you could actually use the Bloomberg terminals absolutely for free in the International Business Center. So a lot of the times I will come here and utilize the Bloomberg terminals to do some of my equity research. And it is a free resource for everybody in New York. So if you come to 40th Street or West 40th and 5th Avenue, feel free to come to the brand new New York Public Library. Take the elevator. Or if you're in the spirit of walking, you can take the stairs to the 5th floor and use the Bloomberg terminals for free. Very good resource. Hey, Rich McNill is here. Sorry I'm late. Hello, all. Good to see you, Rich. So, Rich, Apple reported earnings today, Atlassian reported earnings, and Amazon reported earnings. That's the good news. The bad news is I'm not even sure how they performed because I was very busy today at work. I was really focused on doing some presentations for clients and things like that. And then I had to take some clients out to dinner. So tomorrow is going to be the immersive stream where we do a deep dive into the earnings report. But from what I know, I think Apple is down fractionally after hours, if anybody wants to look that up. I think Atlassian or Team is down pretty big. I think Amazon is the biggest loser of the day due to their investment in Rivian, which is the EV company. I think you can actually see the Bloomberg TV here. So I think we can see where Bitcoin is trading at. You know, in 2015 and 2016, if you told anybody that if you turned on Bloomberg and CNBC, that there would be a dedicated Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin ticker symbol, they would have told you you're totally crazy. But now they have dedicated ticker symbols for cryptocurrencies. Just shows you how far along the space has come. Beijing Charlie says, Tom, is taking clients to dinner still a thing? Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Hey, 812 says, hola Tom, good to see you. Line sync. This is good Zoom. So is Dave Ramsey here in New York City tonight? Financial Peace University by Dave Ramsey. You know, I think Dave is a great guy. I think he means well. I don't agree with everything the guy has to say. I think he's a little bit too risk averse. I think if you really want to start to generate some serious alpha, you're going to have to take some risks. But at the end of the day, I think he does give sound advice for the vast majority of people. But yeah, I think overall he's a good guy. Jabron says, hey Tom, how did you gravitate towards being in enterprise sales? I remember you saying you went to John Jay for a criminal justice degree. Yeah, so you're right. Originally I was going to be in the NYPD, right? I think that's one of the main reasons why I went to John Jay. But I think ever since I got I think in the back of my mind, I always wanted to work on Wall Street in sales and trading. And sales and trading is very, obviously sales intensive for obvious reasons. So I know I could never do that, right? Because I didn't go to a target school. So the next best thing, as I was talking to a lot of my buddies and friends and people that were clients of mine when I had a sales internship, they said the next best thing is you got to get into tech and either sell traditional software or sell telecom, and then via the channel sell different software solutions and products. And that's how I sort of got my start doing that. And I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. You know, one of my first sales internships was actually at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. So I was renting cars when I was a teenager. I actually started off washing the cars. I think the position was called service agent. So when the customers would return their cars, my job was to drive it in the basement, vacuum the car, vacuum the carpet seats, and get it ready for the next renter. And I was working at the branch on the Upper West Side of Manhattan at the time, and so many interesting people would come in. And, I was young at the time, so I was very curious. So I'd always ask, oh, what do you do for work? And everybody would either say, oh, I work at a hedge fund, I work at an investment bank. Or they're like, oh, I work at Salesforce. I'm an enterprise account executive. And I had no idea what that was. Being a teenager, I had no idea what the cloud was. I had no idea what software was. Nothing, really. So they're like, hey, you should try to get into sales. You're, very nice. You know how to talk to people. So then I applied to the only sales job that I knew of at the time, which was a sales intern at Enterprise. And I think I was the number one seller in the entire United States, and I was an intern. But I think the most important thing that I got out of that job, because it was just a BS job at a rental car place when I was a teenager, was just the importance of building a relationship with other people and being hyper-focused and hyper-interested in other people as opposed to yourself. So asking questions, asking the right questions. Right, building those relationships, because if you show interest in other people and show interest in what they're doing and ask them about their life and not make it all about you, people are going to open up, and actually people appreciate that. And what that happens is it creates a network for you to leverage for job opportunities, for investment opportunities, and that's sort of how I got into tech sales. But I started off in small and medium-sized business sales. I've been doing it for about 7 years now, and then was finally able to break into the enterprise, where you're dealing with, Fortune 500, Fortune 50 companies, larger sales cycles. So as opposed to, a sales cycle lasting 1 month, some of these complex sales cycles could last a year, because you're not only selling to one person, you're selling to the whole organization. You have to, structure implementation strategies between engineering, between HR, between compliance. So it's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But the good thing is these deals could be, multi-million dollar deals, right? So if you work at a company where they're doing, 90% gross margins on a deal like that, the sales reps do pretty well. Where are we going? Oh, we had a couple blocks to go. Well, we got a red light, so I think we'll go this way, and then we'll go down Broadway. But yeah, it's weird. It's the one thing I learned in life is that if you have a plan, life is just going to take you where it wants to take you. I was going to be a police officer in the 2018 NYPD Academy. And, now I'm in enterprise tech sales and walking around the city live streaming. So, you never know what life is going to throw at you. Life is kind of bizarre like that. But hey, Lifestyle says, I used to sell PeopleSoft for SAP. Oh man, yeah. So, it was funny. When I was at Enterprise, I would get a lot of the older legacy Oracle and SAP reps. I think those are the most seasoned, talented salespeople. And as well, like the IBM guys as well. But I think the people in sales that I actually respect the most are the traditional, like back in the day in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s, payroll people. So like the Paycom, all those. That's a hard gig. But yeah, SAP, Oracle, those are very, very seasoned legacy salespeople. Very professional. Hey, Cindy Foley. Thank you for being here. Penelope, good to see you. Techno Pink is here. Good to see you, Penelope. And Techno Pink. So Techno Pink is joining us from the one and only Dominican Republic. And Techno Pink actually works at EY, so he is a consultant. That's a great career as well, being a consultant at EY, Deloitte, things like that. I don't think I told you guys, but back in the day, I shouldn't say back in the day, it was only a couple years ago, I was interviewing for IBM. That was back when they were really pushing their Watson product. So the reason why I got the interview, I think, was because I was super focused and targeted on selling into healthcare at my previous company. So I had a lot of the payer providers. I had a lot of the home healthcare agencies, nursing homes, hospitals like New York Pres was one of my customers. And then I had an interview for IBM Watson in their healthcare division, but I'm so glad I didn't take it, because I think about a month ago they actually sold that department to PwC, I think. So I actually don't even think there's an IBM Watson Health around anymore, if I'm not mistaken. Johnny says, my dad worked for IBM from 1962 to 1989. Wow. That's like in the main growth days. That's awesome. So cool. Hey, Vinny Castellano says, Tom, Maria sends her love, all good. Hey, thank you. Sending it right back. Hope you guys are doing well over there in Staten Island. Yeah, so every time I think of IBM, I think of those traditional mainframes or the barcodes. One-to-one, since I have a lot of folks that came from IBM to Deloitte, yeah. We always get this web camera guy every night. A little strange. But yeah, I think the opportunities, I mean, there's so many things that you could do. I think for me, so a person like me, I don't think I'm particularly smart, right? I really don't. I'm not saying that to be sort of funny or anything like that, but I think if you can be honest with yourself and say, okay, I'm not as smart as the next guy. I'm not going to be a world-renowned engineer. But if you can learn the skill of sales, how to talk to people, how to do the right thing by the customer, how to foster those relationships, and how to present a product, I think you'll always be employed. I think you'll always have employment opportunities. I think every good company, regardless of if it's a raging bull market or if we're in a Great Depression, companies need revenue generators. So if you know how to pick up the phone, if you know how to run a demo, if you're a little bit technical, especially now, I'd say, I know how to code, but, I'm definitely not an engineer by any stretch. But I think now if you get a sales job in tech, you do need to be a little bit technical, because 9 times out of 10, any product that you sell right now, you're going to need to convince the prospect that it's going to integrate well with their traditional IT suite or IT infrastructure. So, is it going to integrate well with their HR platform? So, I think you don't need to be super technical. You just need to know a little bit. You need to know your way around things a little bit, but you don't need to be like a genius engineer. This bus is always parked there, and it creates a huge blind spot for people trying to cross the street. So now we're at Macy's, everybody. VSS NEV says, did you ever interview for banking roles? So I never did. I could never get an interview at a traditional investment bank. Because, and usually in investment banking, they recruit you out of an investment banking class at a top 50 school or something like that. But I did do an internship at a hedge fund my junior year of college, but the only way I got that interview was because I used to rent cars to the hedge fund manager when I was a teenager, and I always followed up with him. So I would always be so nice to him. I even would shuttle his kids to school all the way out to Shelter Island. And if you're in New Yorker, you know how crazy far that is. And I would always send him my equity research, always follow up for years. And he gave me a little bit of an internship, which was a good experience, but no traditional investment banking sort of like super days, nothing like that. Wow, check out the Empire State Building tonight. Yeah, NMB045 says, Tom, putting it bluntly, I'm the type who would rather sit in a cubicle doing my own analytical work in solitude. Quite the opposite of your position. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's tiring too. I mean, especially before the pandemic, especially if you're selling like an enterprise seller, you're on the road constantly. So it's tough. Hey, Andy is here. Good to see you, Andy. Andy is joining us from South Korea. Always good to see you. DJ's Tom, does Macy's still have the wooden escalators? They do. So Macy's still does have the wooden escalators right here. I think only a couple of them. Hey, Jabron says, life is indeed bizarre, Tom. Your story is inspiring. I'm in a similar boat. I went to medical school and realized that it wasn't for me halfway through. Now I am in bioinformatics software and I love it. Yeah, I mean, life is wild, man. I mean, you never know. You sort of just kind of have to go with the flow, I guess. But that's awesome. The investigators here says, hello, walks in Wall Street. Good to see you. Hey, Miker's here says, do you know why Apple is down? I thought they beat earnings. So Miker, in full transparency, I don't. So tonight was supposed to be the deep dive earnings stream, but I was totally caught up at work, unfortunately. So tomorrow we're going to do a deep dive into all the earnings reports, I promise. So tomorrow I'm going to block out like a 3-hour gap of my time and hit it hard, listening to all the analysts, all the earnings calls, and I'll draw up some show notes and I will share it with everybody on tomorrow's stream. But I think even though they beat earnings, I mean, probably their forward guidance was not in line with analyst expectations, so the stock probably got hit. I think Amazon missed expectations, and Teladoc reported yesterday, and they missed big time. I think many analysts on the street were expecting positive EPS of about 50 cents. In turn, they came around with a net negative loss of $46. Crazy. Micah says, okay, thanks. I got puts printing, so I don't mind anyway. Ooh, nice, man. Well, congrats on that. It's awesome. I'll give you guys one more view of the Empire, and then we will head to Penn Station. Jeff says, Tom, Amazon is down because Amazon's report dragged them down. Potentially. Hey, Marcelo says, the bear is here. Very best article. Congrats. Hey, thank you for reading. I appreciate it. So for anybody who didn't get the Behind the Street newsletter, if you scan this QR code on your screen, every single Tuesday after the stock market closes, I will send you a complete report, not only on the U.S. equities markets, but on emerging markets, the bond market, the cryptocurrency market, a complete free financial newsletter. So please scan the QR code, punch in your email. It is completely free to sign up. And every single week, I will send you a free financial newsletter. I think we already have about 900 people. Or 900 readers so far, which is awesome. So I thank every one of you for that. And we have a crazy... So this last newsletter I sent out, I think this was the best performing newsletter we sent out. I think it had about a 77% open rate. So I think we sent it out to about 890 people. 77% of people opened it and read it, which is fantastic. So that's insane. So thank you guys so much for reading. And if you have any comments or questions or even any feedback, because the main reason why I started the newsletter is I want to become a better writer. And I'm not a journalist, so I think the only way to become better is to just start writing. So if I can create a newsletter where I'm sending it out to 900 people, it sort of, puts a fire under, what, to continue writing and get better. So hopefully my writing improves as the newsletters go on. And it's also a way for me to share my thoughts and my equity research with all of you. See, it's so cold out. The dog is still in his jacket. Hey, Lifestyle says, hey Tom, just curious, how much do you make from YouTube? We don't really make any money, honestly, from here. Very, very little. I think my highest month, was maybe like $1,000 or something. But we don't really make. I don't really do it for the money. I think the best thing that honestly I've ever done in my life was create this channel, because the amount of people it allows me to meet and connect with is really unbelievable. Really unbelievable. I mean, we have people here that are doctors, lawyers, nurses, plumbers in a union, HVAC mechanics, investment bankers, enterprise tech salespeople. I mean, every single profession you could think of, we have it here in the chat. Software engineers. So people email me all the time. My email box, you guys should see it. I probably get upwards of 50 emails a day. And this is a relatively small channel, right? Our channel, we have a very niche group of people here. But, it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. Just the network it's allowed me to create is unbelievable. And you guys are some extremely smart people. I learn so much every day just from talking to you guys. We get so much feedback and we're able to share our opinions, and we get to do it for free. I don't have to pay to do this. You guys don't have to pay to do this. So it's phenomenal. I think it's the best thing I've ever done. Lifestyle says, do you reply to all your emails? I try to reply to as many as I can. I think I reply to every one of them though. NMB045 says, don't tell me you find the time to reply to all 50 emails a day. I try to reply to most of them. Some of them I don't reply to because they're asking me to for personal financial advice, which I can't give because I'm not it's illegal. I'm not registered for that. But sometimes people will say, hey, I'm at a VC fund and I think you could do some consulting work for me. Things like that, which are kind of interesting. FredX is very much appreciated. It's very much appreciated to you, dude. Ruby Falcone says, we are great and supportive community. Yeah, Ruby, you're fantastic. All of our great moderators. Marcelo says, Tom, do you write about the LATAM markets as well? So Marcelo, that's a great question, and I'll tell you why. Because my old boss, Marcelo, well, I guess I'll announce it later, but Marcelo is really going to focus the majority of his time teaming up with Orlando Bravo. And Orlando Bravo owns Thoma Bravo, which is a private equity firm specializing only in enterprise software. And they're going to spin up a division that is solely focused in Latin America. So I'm even thinking about reaching out to them. I'm actually thinking about reaching out to them to maybe do some consulting work. I would love to work, maybe not there full time, but if they would allow, probably not, but I would love to do that and share my expertise on software companies and things like that. You know, I think Thoma Bravo just bought SailPoint. I think they're going to take that private. Ed says, Tom, do you charge for the advice? No, I don't give out financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't charge for anything. It's we just talk back and forth freely. No, we don't charge for anything. Nope. The greatest is walk over to Madison Square. Oh, I think this guy's struck. Yeah, he dropped his wallet. Somebody says, Tom, walk over to Madison Square Garden, the Burna Boy concert. Well, I think we're here right now. So I think the New York Rangers were playing here last night, I believe. I think they were playing a Canadian hockey team. Hey, the Austin Tennis, dude. So the Austin Tennis is an investment banker that is turned tech salesperson at PagerDuty, ticker symbol PD. Hopefully you're doing very well at PagerDuty. So the Austin Tennis is, Tom, do you use a tool in sales called Demand Base? So I don't. What does Demand Base do, the Austin Tennis? I've never heard of Demand Base. Ruby Falcone says time check 11:14. Thank you for that, Ruby. Much appreciated. NATO says it looks busy there. I think it is. According to the chat, I guess there is a concert getting out.
I can't hear you. I feel like I don't know him that well, but he
Muhammad says, hey Tom, is it cold over here? It definitely is. I mean, you know, it's almost May, and it's freezing here. Probably about 50 degrees. Hey, Iowa Hoax says Rangers are at home tomorrow. Tom says, how many miles did you walk tonight? Tonight we probably only did about 3 to 5, I think. Probably only about 3 to 5. Well, we've been streaming for about 2 hours. So I'm not sure what that translates into. Probably, I would say conservatively 3. On the high end, maybe 5. Lockjaw says, Tom, it is 47 degrees in New York. You know, I think it feels a little bit colder than that, mainly because it's windy tonight. So usually when it's windy, it always feels a little bit colder. You know, maybe we'll take a pit stop. I think we do have some time before my train. So let's take a pit stop. Let's go to Koreatown. We haven't been to Koreatown in a long, long time. So I'd love to take a walk over there with you guys. Hey, 05 is here from Corpus Christi, Texas. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Dutchman says, Tom, now that you live in Miami, 50 degrees is cold for you. You know, I think you're right. I think you may be right. Gregory, good to see you. The investigator says 88 degrees in Colorado. Ooh. You know, supposedly, I think Colorado is the state with the most sunshine. Is that correct? I think Colorado has the most days in the year where it's sunny. Hey, Florida says, what is the temperature now? I think it's 47 degrees. But good to see you, Florida. The Austin Tennis says, have you tried the restaurant in the city called Bar No, I haven't. So Austin Tennis, I did go to Becco tonight with some clients. But I have not been to that I have not been there. But I did go to Becco tonight. But the Austin Tennis, the only sales tools I use, and you know this because I've told you, but Zoom Info is a great tool that I use for sales. Also, when we used to use Salesforce, obviously we had the Zoom Info plugin, also Outreach. So I'm not sure if you use Outreach at PagerDuty, but Outreach was pretty good. Yeah, I think those were the main two, sales related, Zoom Info and Outreach. Hey G, thank you for subscribing to the channel. You're very, very kind, and we appreciate you being here. The Austin Tennis says, yeah, we use Outreach as well. Yeah, PagerDuty is very sales-centric, so I would assume that they use Outreach. So here we have the Empire State Building.
I had Chipotle party.
Hey, Israel says hello from Cuba. Good to see ya. So if you look straight ahead, this is actually the One World Trade Center right here, the Freedom Tower. Triple G says, Tom, what is your go-to for presentations? So I just use PowerPoint, honestly. PowerPoint usually does the trick for me. NMB045 says, Tom, you didn't pronounce Pret a Manger. So how do you pronounce it correctly? Marcelo says, are there pizzas at Becco? I don't think, actually I think there is. I don't know, I have to check. But I usually just get the same thing every time I go to Becco. But that is a good question, Marcelo. But Marcelo, I think you said your daughter works at UBS. We were actually streaming past UBS last night. On the stream. I think that's you, Marcelo. I tend to have a pretty good memory about the people in the chat, but we were streaming past UBS last night. That is right across the street from the Nürburgring Berman building. But here we are, where all the action happens, one of my favorite places in New York. This is Koreatown, 32nd Street, Korea Way. Oh, Mangier. Copy that, 10-4. Cynthia Beal, always good to see you. Andre says, hello from Paris, France. Miss New York City, thank you for your great work. Well, thank you for being here. Love Paris. The Austin Tennis, as we all know, Times Square is Tom's favorite place. Yeah, and the Yale Club. Love the Yale Club. So I've never been inside the Yale Club. I would love to go inside the Yale Club, though. Hey, Ed says, Tom, what do you think of the housing supply and BlackRock buying single-family homes? Yeah, I mean, so we saw preliminary housing data where new sales of homes fell off a cliff. I think it fell almost 9%. And I think the biggest question is that due to interest rates rising, or is that due to a decline in inventory? Because inventory is still really scarce on the market. I don't know. I think it's probably more due to it's more of an inventory issue. But then again, you know, that 10-year U.S. Treasury yield, I'm not sure if you saw the infographic that I put in this week's Behind the Street newsletter, but I actually took a screen grab of the or charted the 10-year U.S. Treasury yield going back to the early 1980s. And it's really interesting where we are right now. I think, what did the U.S. 10-year Treasury yield close at today? I think 2.79 or 2.8. But it's right up against that long-term trend line going back to the 1980s. So if history is a guide, yields should actually roll over here, perhaps. But I don't know. I think it's a combination of yields increasing as well as limited supply. Because another thing I wrote about in this week's Behind the Street newsletter is a lot more people are actually purchasing homes with cash, right? So if you're a cash buyer in the housing market, well, then interest rates doesn't really mean anything to you because you're not taking out a mortgage anyway, right? So I don't know. I think it's going to be a very interesting situation. I don't think we're going to see a 2008 style market crash, because in 2008, the biggest risk there was the counterparty risk and the default risk. I think underwriting standards have improved significantly, and there's a large number of all cash buyers in the market. The Austin Tennis is, what did you order tonight at Becco? So my go-to order is the antipasta and the pasta trio. I get that. I've been getting that since I was very young. Hey, Lewis, do you know Brazil? I do know Brazil. What do you think about the country? Love Brazil. I think the Brazilian economy is going to grow probably the third or second fastest out of emerging market countries. But I would have to say, in terms of economic growth, I'm actually most bullish India. I think the Indian economy is poised for explosive growth. You know, Africa has been a very fashionable investment. And I think the main reason for that is because it's a very young population, right? But the only thing the only risk investing in Africa is unstable governments, right? That's always been a really big issue, is unstable governments. But I think if they could figure that piece out, many countries within Africa are poised for absolutely explosive growth. But love Brazil. I think it's going to be probably a steady grower. India will probably grow number one, but we'll see. British Grey is here. Good to see a British Grey. Florida says, hey Tom, any new incidents in the subway? I don't think so, to be honest. But then again, I never take the subway. I usually walk everywhere, but I think things are going to get better. I tend to be an optimist at heart. Marcelo Gill says, I'll recommend Becco to my daughter. Yes, she works at UBS. Yeah, Marcelo, Becco's phenomenal. And it's not too far away either. It's not too far away from there either. So I guess it's what you call it, Restaurant Row. Hey, Exploration says, according to the SEC filing, Elon sold 4 million shares of Tesla, hence the price drop. Well, I think he may have needed to do that to manage some liquidity. You know, now that Elon Musk is buying Twitter, I think he had to use a lot of his Tesla shares as collateral to get the loans to acquire the money to buy Twitter. So I think he has about $16 billion in collateralized loans. The Austin Tennis is like anywhere in Midtown is walking distance for Tom. But check this out, everybody. This is one of my favorite places. Hey, Rich, is Tom. Demand for ARM loan doubled recently with interest rate hikes. So if you guys are enjoying the stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. Hey, we have Roy S here. Good to see you. Exploration, always a pleasure to see you. Florida, good to see you. Triple G. Hey, community canners, this housing will be interesting. Hope you're doing well. I think that's one of my favorite shots of the Empire. DJ says, Tom, is Elon Musk really thinking about buying Coca-Cola? I think he was mainly trolling, to be honest. You know, Elon Musk put out a tweet that you know, he's thinking of buying Coca-Cola because he wants to put cocaine back into the recipe. I think he was really just trolling, so I don't really think that's serious. But then again, it is 2022, and nothing would surprise me. Well, this place looks really, really unique. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it looks really, really unique. I may have to try this place one day. Hey, Jose, it says, hey, Tom. If my coming trip to New York ends being a blast, it's because of you. Your videos have helped me to make it a better plan. Hey, thank you, man. Well, I hope your trip is fantastic. I think you're going to really like New York City. SD Rob is here. Says that could work competing with Red Bull. Yeah. Hey, Vladimir S. says, don't be so sure about India. Given what's going on there right now with the ramping up in hatred towards non-Hinduism practicing people, there's the next genocide brewing in India. Yeah, I mean, there's always risk with investing in emerging market countries, right? But I think you make a good point, but there's always extreme risk. And I think that's why the US equities markets tended to outperform, right? I mean, the US markets tend to outperform all the time. But then again, I think the Brazilian stock market and the Indian stock market outperformed the S&P 500 last year, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, Marcellus, Tom, next year I will spend some time in New York City, and I expect our president will be reelected. Brazilian economy will increase a lot. So who is the president right now in Brazil? All right, everybody, could we do a quick time check in the chat? I just want to make sure we are, well, I'm going to be able to get my train. I think I'll just make it. You know, I think there's a big presidential election or big election going on in France. 11:31. So we are right on time. I got to get the train at 11:50. So I think we are going to be right on time, everybody. Well, the good news is tomorrow is Friday. You know, always, I think it's going to be a really good weekend here in New York. I think the weather is going to get a little bit better. It's going to be in the mid 60s. So very excited for that. You know, maybe if the weather is clear enough, it is not raining, maybe we will have to break out the skateboard and do a 3-hour trifecta stream on the board on Saturday. So stay tuned for that. Pending the weather, obviously, of course. Hey, Nicole is here. Good to see you, Nicole. Hope you're well. Hope you had a good day today, Nicole. Nicole's on the West Coast, I think, all the way out in Cali. I noticed as the streams progress, we tend to have a lot of the East Coast viewers drop off, and the West Coast viewers come in. Ruby's like, Tom, the Wounded Knee. Yeah, it'll probably be the Wounded Knee skateboard, although I do have 2 others that may want to come out of hibernation as well. So we'll see. That'll be to be determined, but if we do it, it's probably going to be on Saturday.
Now I actually feel bad for you.
So we'll see. Yeah, Nicole's like, yes, from the West Coast. Yeah, Nicole, I always notice that. Right? Usually at the 2-hour mark, once we pass 2 hours in streaming, I notice the viewership tends to change from the East Coast to the West Coast viewers, which I guess makes sense. Triple G says, Tom, I don't remember, can you read the chat messages and ride? So before I could, but you know, when we were doing the skateboarding streams, I mean, our channel was only like, you know, 2,000, 3,000 subscribers, so it was a little bit easier. You know, these days the chat is sometimes rocking, so I'm not sure if I'm going to read everybody's comments, but I'll try my best. Hey, Flowing Happy, thank you so much for the $10 donation. Very kind of you. Much appreciated. Thank you for the support. So thank you, Flowing Happy. And I love your profile picture. Nicole says, yes, I tune in during dinner time. Well, thank you. Appreciate that, Nicole. Israel, thank you. Hey, Dutchman says, hey, Tom, here in Arizona, we love it. You know, I may have to do an emergency trip to Vegas soon. But don't worry, when I go to Vegas, I go to like the most desolate location in Nevada, just right on the outskirts of Vegas. And that's where a lot of the data center warehouses are. So I do have some data center clients. War Walker says she was about to get clocked for that cab. Yeah, Roy S., I definitely have to agree with you. Hey, Florida, this is Tom. What type of a microphone are you using? So tonight we do have the mic. I think I've gotten that question a couple times, but I'm not sure the exact brand. I just went on Amazon. It was like 15 bucks, but it is wired. It is not a wireless mic. It is a wired mic. But if you guys want to join us in the Discord, if you look in the links in the description, feel free to join us there. We sometimes talk about the markets during the day. If you want to connect with us on Twitter, which I think is the best way to connect with me individually for conversation and things like that during the day, you could follow at Walks Wall Street. And we go live about 5 days a week on the stream. So if you want to subscribe to the channel, we go live between New York City and Miami. Wow, FredX says I've lived in New York City in the 80s. Very nice.
Why you want to be so more?
Line Syncs is very good audio and video quality. Appreciate it. You know what, since we're going to go into Penn Station, I'm going to see how far we could walk into Penn Station with without the internet buffering. Because since I'm going to get the train, is it raining outside? Oh no, that's must be something. I think it's the air conditioner or something. But it looks like it's raining here. Mohammed says, Tom, will you be going to Comic-Con? I will not. I think I'm going to be in Miami. So let's go inside Penn Station because I got to wrap it up anyway. But let me know if the what do you call it? If the stream starts to buffer. I think we just missed the light. Yeah, we just missed the light. Nicole's like, oh my god, Comic-Con is here in San Diego. Yeah, so usually when it's here, I think they have it at the Jacob Javits Center, I think. Which is on 10th Avenue. Line sings like very isolated downpour. All right, so we're into the thick of it now, and we will see. We will see if we can get in here without it buffering, I guess. But I appreciate everybody joining tonight. We will be back live back in New York at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to join us on tomorrow night's stream, feel free to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed the stream tonight. And this is the inside of the most beautiful Penn Station. But we will be walking to the Long Island Railroad and testing out the internet. So Cynthia Beal, NMAT, Ruby Falcone, Andy, Samantha R. Appreciate everybody. All of our moderators, thank you for joining. But let's see if we can go all the way around. Let's see how good the internet is in here. I don't think we've ever tried to stream from inside Pennsylvania Station before. Andy, good to see you. So how's the connection in here? Just curious. Kim says so far so good. Andy says thank you. Yeah, so Warwalker, I do walk home. So this is the Amtrak location. So this advertisement is Grayscale. So Grayscale actually custodies the Bitcoin Investment Trust. Yeah, Samantha was like, I'm surprised we're not buffering. I'm surprised too. You know, it's weird. We don't buffer when we're in the old Penn Station, but when we're in the new Moynihan, it's like we can't even stream at all. You would think the opposite, but yeah, Roy S., you're 100% spot on. Roy S. is like the new building, we buffer more. It's strange, right? You would think the new building would be lightning fast, but here it looks like it's pretty smooth actually. All right, so this is where I have to go. So I guess we'll end the stream. All right, everybody, we will end it here. Much appreciated. Thank you for joining tonight. Please join us tomorrow If you want to sign up, again, I'll leave you off with the QR code for the free financial newsletter. If you scan the QR code on your screen, you could punch in your email and sign up for a free financial newsletter that I write for everybody every single week. So thank you for joining tonight. Please be safe and happy Friday, everybody. We will see you right back here live, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from the one and only New York City. And we will see you all in the next one. So Samantha R., Victor, NMB 045, Mohammed, all of our great moderators. Be safe, everybody. Happy Friday. And finish the week strong. Ruby Falcone, we'll see you later.